Today we're going to look at Cherry, a new mastering equalization plugin for your music made by Acustica Audio. This is an EQ built from the company's Hyper technology, which put into plain English promises stellar results with reduced CPU cost over their previous methods. Cherry, in particular, is advertised as the lightest EQ ever made by Acustica. As most people familiar with Acustica Audio know, the company has built its name on sampling extremely expensive and rare hardware devices. Cherry is apparently based off of two sampled EQs, and while any direct mention of them is not made by the company due to copyright and/or trademark laws, end-user speculation says that in Cherry's case, at least one of the units sampled is the LA117 Studio DMI Limited Edition Mastering EQ. The other device is unknown as of now. Today, I'll be comparing Cherry to the EQ section of the Howie Weinberg Mastering plugin, which has been a part of my signal chain for a long time now. Most recently, I used it on a song that I made for the El Rey video on this channel a few weeks ago. So it will be interesting to see how it stacks up on some newer material. All of the plugins mentioned above are made by Acustica, but none of these videos are sponsored or endorsed or anything like that. I'm just a curious user myself. So anyways, let's jump into this video. Okay, so here we have the session of the song that I made for the El Rey video. And as you can see, I used the Howie Weinberg plugin, and I'm going to bypass everything except for the EQ section. So that would be E and F. I pumped up the low shelf a little bit. I got some high shelf a little bit. The high pass filter is just barely on, around 30 hertz. And I took away around 2.5 decibels, around 210 hertz. I downloaded the trial of Cherry, and at first I was a little dismayed. The low shelf and the high shelf seem to not go low or high enough. The low shelf bottoms out at 184 hertz, and the high shelf tops out at around 10K, 10,313 to be exact. And just to get acclimated with it, I decided to pull up PluginDoctor. I don't usually use PluginDoctor. I'm not a big fan of it. But nevertheless, I decided to see if I could match the curve of the Howie plugin to the Cherry plugin. And I got pretty close. This red curve represents the EQ moves that I made on the Howie plugin. Then overlaid is the pink curve, which, as you can see, I did a pretty good job in the low end. Surprisingly, because I wasn't sure if I'd be able to sculpt it since that shelf only goes down to 184. However, in the low section of the plugin, I was able to adjust the peak so that it matches the curve of the Howie plugin pretty spot on. And then I was able to adjust the high pass filter up here so that it meets up with the Howie plugin as well. Pretty spot on. Then the middle dip I was able to replicate. And the only place I couldn't really hone in on the Howie plugin was the upper part of the frequency spectrum after 10K. However, this was just supposed to get me in the ballpark regardless, so I transferred those settings over to the plugin in Logic and put them into the demo of Cherry. There's a few different modes that you can choose, and the Digital 2X looked the most interesting to me, so I just started there. Anyways, I'm going to replay that section of my song from the El Rey video in a minute. I have my doubts that the differences between Cherry and Howie will survive the YouTube codec. After all, I didn't push the EQs too hard in this test. This song just didn't require that. But nonetheless, I will toggle back and forth between the two plugins, if only to see how my findings translate. Speaking of my findings, I have always liked the ease of use of the Howie Weinberg plugin, and I've never had an issue with the EQ section. It's actually great by its own right. However, when I compare it to Cherry, there's a tiny little veil in the upper frequencies that gets lifted. Also, Cherry is able to be more precise, even though my wish list includes being able to lower and higher each of these shelves. The preamp section included in Cherry tightened up the low end in this song a little bit too much. I suspect that I'll like it more on more up-tempo songs, but on a song like this, I actually preferred it to be off. There's also no presets. There's no AI-generated presets either, so this is not a beginner's plugin. However, if you've been doing this for a while, and you have some other mastering EQs that you can compare it to, I think you'd be hard-pressed to find that Cherry doesn't stand out among the best of them. As an aside, the plugin world is getting better by the day, and while it may seem gimmicky, the hyper technology that Acustica has been marketing as of late actually seems to exhibit some real-world improvements, which is impressive given that they've always had exceptional quality. And those CPU benefits are real as well, which is definitely a welcome change. Other than that, just a quick video today. I really appreciate you watching. And if you like this video, then give it a like and subscribe to the channel for more stuff. Thank you very much, and I'll see you next time.